On this episode of the podcast, we have Sean Phillips, who is the owner and CEO of Genesis Signs and Graphics, a full-service, minority-owned commercial sign company in Farmingdale, New York. With over 30 years of experience in sales and marketing, Sean has worked with top Fortune 500 companies before launching his own business in 2017. A Morehouse College graduate and active member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity, Sean is dedicated to growing his business and making a social impact in his community. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. With me today is
Sean Phillips. I'm the owner of Genesis Signs and Graphics.
All right. Welcome, Sean, to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you here today. It's been a while since we've been able to chat in person like this. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Me as well.
So let's jump in. What motivated you to start your business? Talk us through the inception of the company.
Sure. I was in corporate America for 25 plus years. I got corporate burnout and decided I wanted to do something different. I wanted to start my own business and control my own destiny. So essentially, I was working with a business consultant who told me that I should look for things that align with my skills. I was in B2B in corporate America, and he suggested industries that align with that, and signage came up as one. I told him I had no idea what I was doing in signage. You know, he's like, but you don't need to. You can hire folks who know how to make signs. I was essentially there to do the sales and marketing, which I did in my corporate jobs.
Okay.
So I kind of did my research and decided I'm going to go full steam ahead. The name Genesis Signs and Graphics, Genesis came from the beginning. So this was a new beginning for me. That's why I named it Genesis Signs.
All right. So it has some meaning to it.
It
All
does.
right.
And a spiritual side too. I
Right.
mean, but more importantly, it was the fact that it was a new beginning for me.
All right. And so you tapped into this new space. You bravely set foot out on a very uncertain journey, right? Being a business owner, being an entrepreneur is, especially in an industry that you have not been in prior, can bring a lot of uncertainty, fear, risk, right?
Sure.
How did you manage those emotions at the beginning stages when you were still trying to build, still trying to find your clientele?
Quite frankly, I was scared. I mean, if I'm being honest about the initial stages, it was like, did I make a mistake? Did I leave something that was stable and go into something that was uncertain? But, certainly I have a partner, my wife, who was very encouraging and said, you can do this. And so that really helped to manage through those feelings of being fearful. But I think after that, I sort of got into, I can do this. I honed in on the skills that I had in my corporate life and transferred those over to this new business. So I think that really helped me to kind of get in a groove.
Okay. So yay for partnership, right? Yay for that core source of support who can be there and provide you that foundation as you are figuring things out. What were some of the resources you tapped into early on, right? You said you did a lot of research on the industry and the type of company you wanted to start. Do you remember those other resources that helped you to build that business foundation?
Sure. I actually went to other sign shops to really learn. And I went to areas that they wouldn't feel like I was in competition with them if I did open a business, So I just really was picking their brains as to how they got started, challenges that they faced, anything that I could kind of garner to say, is this going to be right for me? That was really an important part of my journey, is to talk to other sign owners. I figured, why not just go right to the source? That was a huge one for me.
And what were some of those conversations like? How open were they to sharing that information? How did you navigate that carefully?
I think they were very receptive. Everyone that I talked to was certainly open to talking to me about how they got started. Certainly they weren't going to share numbers with me, what their revenue is or anything like that. But they did tell me about, how they got started to get new clientele, the equipment that I would need for the business, staffing, things that I wasn't necessarily completely, thinking about. There were small things like when I actually did open my business, there were things that I got so used to being in corporate and taking for granted available things for me, like, toilet paper and tissue paper, I had to go buy those things now.
Office
and those
supplies.
are the office supplies. Those were things that I had to now think about that really never was on my radar before.
Okay. So you mentioned staffing, right?
Yes.
That's a tough one. That's a tough nut to crack for every entrepreneur now starting out, understanding what the human resource pool looks like in your industry, how to tap into it, how to create a culture in your organization that helps to retain the people that you bring on to your staff. What were some of the strategies that you used and the lessons that you learned along the way?
So again, in contrast to corporate America, where I had an HR department who were sending me candidates when I was hiring people from my department, I was HR, which was completely new, obviously for me. I tapped into things like Indeed, really to put up a post for the type of roles I was looking for. Didn't always get those that matched exactly, but I was also looking for somebody who was willing to learn, like willing to expand their skills. So if you were just a graphic designer, would you be willing to learn how to do production work, in signage? So that took a little bit of time, but I was able to find, a couple of people who, when I first started, who fit that bill. And but it was new, that hiring for this industry was hard because it is so specialized that it's not like hiring, a cashier. It's somebody who needs a certain skill to actually work the job.
Yeah. Tell me about employee retention in your industry. Some industries, employees come in and out the door and it's really difficult to retain them. What about in the signs industry?
Yeah, so it is, at least for us, it's an hourly wage type of role. So yes, there are challenges where somebody can feel like if I can get $2 more an hour over here, I'm going to leave. But I wanted to create a culture where you didn't want to leave, right? I didn't want it. The way I managed in corporate was the way I wanted to manage in my own business, giving some empowerment to the folks that work for me, where I'm not a micromanager at all. And I think that culture really helped people feel like they belonged and they could stay. So that was really important for me to just create that culture where, you felt heard. And it wasn't like a boss telling you what to do all the time. Yeah. So I think that's really, and my business now, the people that work for me, we laugh like literally every day. Like that's the type of place I want it to be. We play music, I didn't want it to be a quiet, sterile place. I wanted energy and life, and that's where we are today.
Tell us about some of the milestones that you've achieved, those that you're really proud of.
Sure. I think when we first started, we took anything we could, right? Just to get money coming in. Now we're a lot more discerning about the jobs that we take and projects we take on. What we're really proud of are we just did a job with Columbia University where they have a new tennis center that was built, and we did a partnership with another company on that project. And just to see that the name that, who it is, it's Columbia University. And the fact that it was a new building. So the signage that we created for that are going to kind of last, for the life of that building. So I think that we've really felt proud about that project. For me, I come from a world of brands, right? So trying to get brands in our portfolio was also important to us. So we've worked with J. Crew, where we wrapped some of their vehicles for their summer and winter campaigns. So that was another milestone that I felt was good for us. The other milestone was more personal, where I got to give back to places that meant something to me. So my school, like where I grew up, the town that I did signs for the community where where I grew up. So those, while not brand recognized, they mean something to me. So that was good.
That's awesome. Okay, so now when I see those J. Crew vehicles, that's you. That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear of the fact that you are building a portfolio of clientele that the world recognizes, and more to come, right?
More to come.
Now, you mentioned one of the milestones you achieved. You did it through a collaboration with another company, right? And in the work that we do at the Institute, in the work that we do through Ascend, collaborations are important, right? How we open up opportunities, not just for ourselves, but for companies that look like us, companies that might be struggling or trying to grow in the same field that we are in, right? And so what are some of your strategies for ensuring that, business owners can establish strong partnerships and those partnerships turn into effective collaborations?
Well, I think that, getting out of the mindset of I got to get mine, me. And there's a space for that, right? To grow your own business. But when it makes sense to, whether you don't have that capability and it's better for you to partner with somebody else, or it just makes sense for you both to combine forces to, present a bid that's a stronger bid because you're now together. Those things are important. The partnership that I was with was another sign company, although they didn't have a brick and mortar location. So we were able to be that arm of fabricating some of the signs, while their strength was more, client relations, strategy, design. So when we combine our forces, it just worked for this particular project. So I would say, partnerships have to be a two-way flow where you both see, a benefit for doing it.
Right. What would be some of the conversations that a business owner should have on the front end when going into a partnership that lays the groundwork for the partnership going essentially the way you hope it will go, right?
So this was a learning experience for me because it was the first time we did something like that. Up until now, it was just we had our own clients and we served those clients. I would say for those starting out to look at partnerships, certainly determine your terms up front. What are your responsibilities? What is the partner's responsibilities? And be clear about that. And actually document those, not just conversations, loose conversations. It has to be documented. What's the split going to be? How are you splitting the revenue, or the profits? Like those have to be very clearly laid out. Otherwise, at the tail end, there's going to be confusion and it's just not going to go the way you want it to.
Right. No, those are such good lessons or such great strategies. And sometimes we get into things with people that we have a good relationship with, and the best of intentions mean nothing if there isn't a solid written, physical plan that you can touch, see, and go back to when things change. And so that's great. Now, you've reached this stage with your company. You've learned so many things along the way. What were some of the resources that you tapped into in terms of programs? Because we met through the Ascend program, right?
Yes.
So what were some of the programs that you've been a part of, or other resources that you can share with the audience that might be of benefit to them?
I think one of the biggest ones for me when I first started off was the Chamber of Commerce. My first location was in Hicksville, so we joined the Chamber of Commerce in Hicksville. And from there, we got one of our largest clients at the time. It was the Broadway Commons Mall, because the director of marketing was in the chamber. I would say, just networking. We're also part of LIAC, the Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce.
Now, I have a question about the chambers of commerce because I've heard other business owners talk about being a member of those chambers, right? And so what kind of member are you? Like, how do you leverage that relationship? Okay, I'm going to become a member, but what do you need to do to come out with partnerships that matter for growing your company?
Well, when you're each chamber has a monthly meeting, and they sometimes have events outside of their monthly meetings. So it's important to network at those meetings. Network. And I think from that, more people will understand what you do. You understand what other people do. And you may not even think that some businesses connect or like they would make sense for you to be, they are for me, it made sense. Like they're a realtor, right? Like I'm not looking for property, but their industry, because they are also selling homes all the time, they're looking for signage to put at their properties. So you never know who you're going to come across.
Right.
So networking is key to do at those meetings.
Okay. So you benefited from joining different chambers of commerce. What else?
Also, at least for my industry, there's what's called there's an ISA, International Sign Expo. It's normally either in Vegas or in Florida or something like that. And it's a massive, massive expo where all the different companies who are involved in the signage industry, from equipment to materials to new technologies, things like that, are at this event. And so going to those types of things really helped to understand what's available, what I could offer to my clients, and just kind of keep abreast of what's happening in an industry.
Yeah.
We also would attend, any sort of the minority-owned expos, minority-owned business expos as well, vendor expos, where you're just kind of getting your name out and having a capability statement to hand out to somebody so they can, if they're looking for your services, they know where to find you.
Right. How important is developing your capability statement?
It's key. It is like it's like a walking business card. It's a extended business card for you, in my opinion.
The business's resume, basically.
It's the business's resume in a snapshot. And I think for us, it was key in getting some of the jobs that we did as we handed those out at these expos and conferences. And it at least get you to the next conversation. You may not necessarily always get the job or a project, but at least get you in the conversation.
What are some tips that you've learned along the way about developing your capability statement?
As I just handed out one yesterday for a meeting, I realized that it's a living, breathing document, and it always should be evolving. And I recognized yesterday that I should now update my capability statement. Because new projects come along, new skills are added to your portfolio or to your company, and it's just good to have it refreshed, similar to like you said, a resume. You want to refresh your resume as you go along.
Okay. So you've been on this business journey, right? And so far we've focused on the business, but the journey started personally with you being tapped out in the corporate world, and letting that push you into exploring a new beginning for yourself. So how has developing this business stretched you as an individual? It
certainly has given me a breadth of skills that I didn't think I would be capable of doing or would get into. Right? Like I said, now as a business owner, and we're a small outfit, right? I don't have departments, right? It's 3 people. So
Small but mighty.
small but mighty. But I become, I'm HR, I'm accounting, I am, sales and marketing. And so those things stretch you personally where, you kind of test yourself and realize, wow, I can do this. I've learned something new. Being a business owner is also, because I left corporate America, the one thing I will say for me is that it's given me a lot more work-life balance. There's some times where I feel like I have to stay, to a certain time, and then I'll realize, wait, I'm the boss. Like I can leave. Like I don't have to be here. Like I can actually come in late. I can leave early. I can say I'm not coming in today, or I'm going to work from home. Whatever it is, those things gave me peace of mind that, take the pressure off yourself, Sean. Like you got this. So,
and that work comes with you kind of wherever you are. And that allows a little bit of more flexibility indeed. But how do you balance the other end of that, right? Now, because you are responsible for so much and so many things lies on your shoulders, right? That's also a weight that you didn't carry when you were in the corporate world. So how do you hold that weight?
You're right. I mean, there are days when I'm like, wow, like how are we going to get through this? I think, as I said earlier, the word Genesis, there's the name of new beginning, but there's a spiritual side to it. So I think for me, just being faithful that, we'll come through this. Like we've come through something else in the past, we'll get through this. So I think having a strong faith really helps to manage that stress, because it is a different kind of stress. Especially when, there were times when I'm like, are we going to make payroll this week? And it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough to have, like I said before, a supportive partner who, will step in and help out just to take some of that burden off of me, when needed. So I think those things, just having a village, to bounce things off of. I have other colleagues that own sign shops in other places that, we talk daily, literally daily about challenges they're going through, I'm going through, and we kind of help troubleshoot together.
Yeah.
So those things at least take a little bit of the weight off, at the end of the day. And I think having, again, if I built a culture and a good team, like my team also helps to take the weight off. What do you need? Like, what can I do? Like you have those types of employees who are willing to step in when they see a gap or a need. You're like, okay, I feel a little bit better now.
All right. So essentially having multiple buckets that you can share some of those burdens with in, right? And so for you talked about not just having your family foundation, not just having your team as a foundation, but other business owners in your industry as that strong foundation too. And just being able to share your challenges and come up with solutions to those challenges together. So let's talk about the industry. What's going on in the industry now? What if there's a business owner who's in the sign industry trying to grow their business, what are some of the things that they need to pay attention to that's on the horizon?
Well, I think most industries just in general are touched by or at least affected by technology, right? So while most signs in general are done by hand or at least have a little bit of, some equipment to help you.
Okay.
From a design standpoint, we're using now AI, as a big part of our industry. Like, so there are programs where if a client comes to us looking for a concept, it actually saves us time when we use AI to help develop an idea, right? It may not be the idea, but it directionally gives us something to present to them and say, is this what you're looking for? You know, so our designer uses software to help present concepts, which I think, again, it saves us a lot of time and it gives us some direction for the client because they may not even know what they want. There are a lot of clients who call us and say, I need a sign, but I'm not sure. I've never done this before. I'm opening a business. And so it helps us to kind of hone in on what they're looking for. So I would say technology is, and AI specifically, is what's kind of on the horizon.
Yeah. So learning it, embracing it, building it into the efficiencies of your business.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's also a lot of more digital signage that's happening. Now, while we don't fabricate digital signage, there are companies that we partner with. So you'll see more, you know, especially in front of schools and churches and fire departments and those types of they call it electronic message center signage. You're seeing more of those as well because people can communicate messaging to the public in front of their spaces.
Right, and it offers flexibility because you can change that message when you need to.
Yeah, right? you can change it from anywhere in the world. Like I could be sitting here and change a sign that's sitting in Chicago.
You've been sharing gems, so many great gems throughout this conversation. What additional advice would you offer to business owners trying to grow their business?
Absolutely. I would say, do your homework first. I mean, I think people have a tendency to jump right in and say, I'm going to start this business and not have all the ducks in a row. So certainly do your homework about the industry you're going into, what resources you're going to need, for that industry, the funding piece as well. I know I underestimated a little bit when I started my business for the funding piece. And
can we talk about the feeling though?
Yeah.
As you talked about wanting to jump right in, right? Yeah. And get started with the business. But to put yourself on pause and to be more patient and do the research first, it almost feels like I need to get out there. I need to start making money. I need to, right? How does one fight that feeling?
It's almost like, when my dad used to tell me about when I'm nailing something, he's like, measure twice, cut once, right? Like you want to do the work up front first. Like you just got to be patient. Do the work up front because it'll save you a lot of headache in the end, right? If you do that way. So yeah, it is a fight because you feel like I want to get out there. I have this concept, but slow down. I mean, that is a piece of advice right there. Just slow down, take a breath, and do your homework.
Yeah.
It will certainly help.
Yeah. And now funding was your next piece.
Yeah.
How do they navigate that?
So yeah, I mean, you really have to take the time to put together, your budget. Like what will this cost? Like there are variables that are going to come in, right, that you may not have factored, but you got to make sure you cover the big nuggets, particularly now some people are going to not have a space. There'll just be things that they can work out of their home but if you have a brick and mortar, right, you have to factor in how much am I going to pay for rent, employees, the light bill, the like all the bills that come with being in a space.
Yeah.
Those have to be factored in. And I know for me, the way I got over the hump of underfunding was I ended up having to take a line of credit through my bank. And that's not a bad thing. Like I used to think like, I got to borrow more money. Like it's actually good to establish that credit with a lender and use that money wisely. So I would say, make sure you have a funding partner that understands that small businesses are going to need these resources.
Now, I had mentioned earlier that you and I met through the Ascend program, and I think of Ascend because that's one of the things they try to do with businesses is make sure that not only is your management skills good, not only do we try to open up market access by introducing at least you to different networks, but also providing some support on the funding side through our partnership with Bach Capital.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit about your experience in the Ascend program. And I know you did two different, you were able to benefit from two different.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that Ascend really helped to move my business in terms of expanding it outside of just my day-to-day mom and pop, opportunities. When it was presented to me as something to join, I was hesitant at first, to be honest with you, because I was like, do I have time for this? What is this? Because I was in the initial class for Long Island. And
2019.
Yeah. And that was only 2 years after we had opened up our business. So we were still getting our footing. And so I figured, let's try this. And the way that it was structured, to your point, it really broke it out into buckets that were digestible. We got able to kind of go into those things about marketing and money. So that was critical for us. The other part was that had it not been for Ascend to push me and to help me to get my certification for MWBE, I'm an MBE certified for New York State and New York City. That's because of Ascend. I mean, the resources that were in that group for my team, my group, really helped me, sat down with me when I had questions about the application, and actually helped to push the application through channels that were a little faster because of the partnership. That opened up a wide opportunities for us in terms of bids. So now that we got certified, daily we get bid opportunities for projects throughout New York State.
Yeah.
Now, whether we have the capacity to address all of those bids is different, but at least now we have a bigger playing field.
So we've talked about a lot of the benefits that you've received from programs like Ascend, and these benefits have helped you to grow your business, have helped you to become a stronger as a business owner. But we also know that business owners face challenges along the way, right? And so what are some of the challenges that you have seen, especially as you talk with other business owners in your industry? What are some of those challenges that they face?
What I've noticed is that other sign companies face issues with scaling their business, right? So you hit a plateau, or you're in a space where you're like, but you need to get higher, right? What's the next level of the business? How do we get there?
Right.
And so I think that's one big problem that we all face in the industry. And then I would also say that we also face issues with cash flow. I mean, that's another big part of the business, not only mine, but other sign shops that I talk to on a regular basis.
Yeah. So what are the solutions that business owners facing issues, trying to scale, trying to figure out how do I get off of the plateau? And then how do I budget appropriately? How do I ensure that I have enough cash flow coming in and managing what's going out, right? What are the strategies that you have used to solve those issues?
For us, for scale, I mean, we know we want to have at least a 10-man team, right? We do want to get to the point of having those departments. So we actually have a plan over the next 2 years to add additional staff to our teams. So next year in 2025, we plan on adding 3 more team members, and then 2026, an additional 3 more team members.
Which certainly feeds into the solutions that you have for cash flow, because you have to be able to cover the things that come with additional team members and scaling a business. So what are the strategies you're using there?
As I said before, businesses should embrace credit, right? It's not a bad thing to take out loans. So I would recommend companies look at that as an additional resource to help with their cash flow. The other thing is getting customers to pay deposits before you start a job. So at least you have some money against that project, and you're not outlaying all of your cash up front. You're getting some of their money up front, and then they have a stake in it, you know, as well. So you can get the balance when the project is done, but at least you have some money coming in to sustain that project and the business.
Those are really great strategies. So y'all heard it here first. You might get some calls for mentorship now, right? I hope you're ready.
Not a problem.
Now, you talked about where you see your business going in the future, right? You want to grow your staff. You want to be able to scale. When all is said and done, what do you want your impact to be?
I have two sons. One is 21, one's 19. And I really want them, it's not to take over the business because I know what their passions are completely different. But I do want a legacy to show them that entrepreneurship is a viable path for them or for anyone. I think that's sort of the biggest legacy I want to leave is that, you know, there is no 1 + 1 = 2 anymore. It's, you know, follow what works for you. And for me, I think entrepreneurship was the right move. And I want them to see that that it could work for them if they so choose.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, I want you to remind the audience what the services are that your business provides and tell us about the kinds of opportunities, partnerships, clientele that you're looking for.
Sure. So we're a full-service commercial sign company. We design, fabricate, and install a myriad of signage, from interior signage to exterior signage. And we also do vehicle graphics for fleets for your businesses. So that's our core. And we've been in business 7 years, and we're still growing. And where we want to go next are customers where our ideal client would be one that is repeat business. While we appreciate the one and dones, we love the repeat businesses. And those tend to come from like schools, healthcare facilities, and property management companies where new buildings are going up, and those places are going to need new signage for their new buildings.
Yep.
Those are the types of clients that are ideal for us. And, you know, our doors are open, and we welcome anybody to give us a call if they have any signage needs.
And how do they find you?
They can find us on our website at www.genesissignsny.com, GENESISSIGNSNY.com. We're on Facebook under the same, and our IG is also the same.
All right. And you told the people to give you a call.
And our phone number is 347-709-7446.
All right. Sean, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you for giving us insight into your company, your business, where you're going in the future. And we look forward to staying on this journey with you.
Thank you for having me, and I appreciate all the help you've had in our journey along this way. Thank you.
Of course. Well, thank you for listening. See you on the next episode of the podcast.